Hello, everybody. I'm your friend, your confidant, your minister of madness, Danny the Flame. Welcome to another episode of Fun with Flame. And before we begin, am I the only one that believes that racism should be applied to animals as well? Someone comes over your house and I don't like dogs. You should be able to go, you're a racist. I don't know. I think I think that should be a thing. No, but today I want to talk about. This is a review of the movie Old Guard, the Old Guard, Netflix movie that came out. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised that the movie was um, really good. I did not. I wanted to see the movie, and then when it came out, and I was like, "Yay, it's out!" Like, yeah, like a little schoolgirl. Yay, it's here, it's here. But I watched the movie, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised. Essentially, if you want to boil down the movie when someone's talking to you, is like, "Yo, what is it about?" Just be like, "Yeah, you know Wolverine from the X-Men." Like, yeah, all right. Like, think of a whole group of him, and that's a movie. And like they got guns. And it's like, oh, um, that sounds dope. It is dope. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's dope. This movie actually had a very good story structure. The world building and everything that they um, brought into this movie, I thought was fantastic. Especially considering that it's a comic book movie. It was very well done. Nothing that was too overly complicated, anything that was just outlandish or whatnot. It actually was really enjoyable. It's simple, so that made it easy to follow. There's nothing really that hard to worry about. Charlie Thornton, they was throwing down with the action. Like, I definitely got to give them props with that. Like, their action scenes and their fight scenes and stuff were very well done. And surprisingly enough, I preferred the action that she did in this movie over Atomic Blonde, which I didn't even like. I did not like Atomic Blonde. It was like it had its action, but it was all just really bleh. But with this movie, the action that they had was actually really fucking good. Um, the effects of when these people were getting got was really well done, phenomenal. I like the way how that was showcased. It I'm trying to think, like how many more ways can I suck this movie's dick? That's what's happening right now. It's like that's what I'm trying to figure out. Should I get it from the side, from the bottom? But no, the yeah, this so the premise of the movie is that basically you got a premise, like just flat out premise is that basically you got yourself a bunch of warriors who are immortal. They have been living for centuries at a time. They have elongated histories. Hell, you don't even know Charlie Thornton is the leader, and you don't even know exactly from what timeline she came from. She can't even remember her family. Like it's been so long. And it was cool that they did that because that's one of the cruxes of if you were to have immortality, and it's like you might be immortal, but it doesn't mean that you basically watched a whole bunch of people that you care about die. So the fact that they, instead of just having one character who's immortal and then bitter and is crockety and whatnot, they instead had a group of people who were able to still keep that humanity of them because of the fact that they interact with each other. So that was actually very well done, and I like the fact that they did that because one of the crux of having an immortal character, they've done it in Doctor Who before. They've done it in lots of different stories where they'll showcase a character who basically just up and gets immortality, then show them later on, and then it's just like they've just kind of dehumanized themselves because it's like, oh, what's the point of caring about anything? I'm not gonna die, so nah, yeah, whatever. Emotions, people, relationships, blah, and so it was cool the fact that they actually had them. The group get together. They would laugh, joke, reminisce about stuff, and I liked it. I enjoyed that. So that was pretty cool. Also, sidebar: am I the only one who noticed that uh, every straight male in this movie was a bad guy? Like, there's like no There was no good guy that was straight. And it's not something that I take away from the movie. It didn't. It's not like I'm not looking at it as a political intrigue thing, but it's something I did notice, and I was like, that seems odd. But it was only after the fact. So when the movie was over with, and I was like, wait a minute, hold on. But whatever. Another thing that I thought was pretty cool was that they didn't encompass that the fact that these immortal warriors have been going around helping people, fighting for causes that they believe is right throughout all these years. So when they brought up and deduced their history or what they were into, what I thought was cool was that the guy took notice of the things that they did, the people that they saved, and like the causes that they fought for. So instead of it just being that, oh, they saved this many people during this incident, they fought during this war and they protected all of these people, they went deeper, which is what I liked and appreciated. So then it went into they saved these people. One of those people grew up to become a scientist who helped start up the chemotherapy treatments, and it was like they basically showed the ripple effect that they played by doing the good that they did. So that I really thought that was cool. I thought that was really cool, and I really appreciated that. Uh, the gay couple that they had of the warriors, it's like I don't want to be offensive, but it just sounds offensive. But that's what I say. I speak this way. They were gay. The gay couple that they had, I loved the scene when they were in the truck, when they were basically waking up, and then the guards were around them, and then they were just speaking, and they was like, oh man, like you're okay, like, oh man, I'm happy. And then like they kissed, and then the guy was like, ew, what is he, your boyfriend? Or like they were like talking, and then like the guy was like, ew, what is he, your boyfriend? And then he was like, he's a boyfriend. What the fuck? Like you are a child. And he was like, that's what you saying? And he was like, and he just broke down exactly what he meant to him and how he felt about him. And I liked that monologue. That was dope. And then the fact that afterwards the truck stopped and they killed all the guards inside the truck. And I was like, these two are still these badass immortal warriors that can't die. So what exactly, are they? And it was like, what exactly did you think was gonna happen? So when they opened up the truck, they was covered in blood, and they was like laughing, looking. It was like, oh, look at their faces. And it was like they didn't expect this to happen, and I thought that was cool. So I thought that when they did that, that was cool. Also, the fact that their how they did those two characters, they basically was like they fought during the Crusades, and like one of them was like, the love of my life was someone I was raised and trained to hate and be disgusted at. And I was like, and we fought and killed each other many times over like for years, and then come to find out that we actually are in love with each other. And it was like, yeah, that was actually very well done, and it was very creative on their part for characters, and I really I liked that they had that dynamic. And then like even while they were going through stuff, they were still jokingly talking and just kind of rolling with the punches because they are immortal. So it's like regardless, even if they are getting tortured or if they'll be tortured forever, like it was like, well, we still got each other. So that was a funny. I kind of like, that was like a little quirky aspect to their relationship. It was like, no matter what, as long as we know we're okay, we it's like, we can deal with anything. Like, we've been through so much, so whatever. So that was cool. Now, this movie is not without fault, and as we all know, I am a very cynical motherfucker. So, I can't help but stress out that this movie does have a lot of contradictions, plot holes, and things like that. But the thing is that it doesn't ruin the movie, but they are more so hindsight um, type of situation. So while you watch the movie, you won't be deterred by anything that you see or notice out of place. But later on, if you think back, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, what? So one of the things was that like they basically follow a strict set of rules throughout all of this time in order to protect their safety. So they wouldn't do a job with someone else more than once. So if someone was to try and contact them again, they wouldn't help, regardless of what they had, regardless of what was going on or what trouble was happening. But they are people who fight for justice and whatnot. So the aspect of basically just not helping people is something that they don't do. They believe that they're doing good. So when they were contacted by someone else again, and it was like, it was a job that they all believed that they definitely need to take. The fact that this isn't something that has possibly happened before, came up before, but they still have their rules that kept them alive for all this time, they would just now all of a sudden go against it, especially during the age in which cameras, phones, and technology is very apparent, and they can barely hide themselves in this new day and age. So that concept was really ridiculous, but it was the trigger point for the movie. But just that concept was really, it was a weak premise to get them started on what they were doing. You could have easily fixed that by having it be that it was someone who worked with them before, and then like he kind of got someone else to hire them for a job, and then like they were tricked, and then like they were tricked that way, something like that. But basically, it was like if you had these people that's been careful all this time to just up and all of a sudden just be like, well, this is something worth fighting for. But it's like there's always something worth fighting for. And then one of the main things that Charlie's Thornton character brings up is that the world just keeps getting worse and worse, and there's nothing we can do about it. So it was like, yeah, that makes total fucking sense. And then even at that junction, just the threat of being exposed greatly outweighs, to me, whatever it is problem that they got that's going on in the world, considering that there's always a problem going on in the world, and they work in such secrecy. So it's like they do the best that they can, but it'll never be enough, which is, one of the many faults of any superhero or whatnot. So just having that aspect was cool. It was humanizing for them, but then again, it was like as careful and as well planned out, and as like as stable and as functioning as they were, for that to be something that like that was the trigger point. Like, that I didn't like that. I didn't like that they did that. Another thing was that the truck scene that I actually liked and enjoyed. Again, while I was watching the movie, I enjoyed it, but in hindsight, it was like problem. The fact that one, they're immortal and they heal, and they were wearing handcuffs. I would break my wrist, slip my hands out, and then watch it heal. They were wearing just regular handcuffs. They could have easily took any of the weapons that were on the people that were holding them and prepared to fight their way out after they got away. A bunch of shit that just didn't make any sense. They then put them on a private jet. A private jet, not a militarized plane or something that was extremely heavily guarded, but a private jet. Something that they could crash, get up, and walk away from. So the fact that that also was something that they did not do. And it's like, yeah, it pushed the story along, but within the confines of the characters and the world that you created with these characters, it didn't fit. It just is a moment that just did not fit or make any sense towards them, for them to just allow themselves to get caught and then just go with what was happening. Um, this movie also suffers greatly from predictability. It's so much shit that you see that you just kind of call out just off first notice. So as soon as someone does even the like just while you're watching it, you can call out every type of character dynamic or what a person feels like or how they're gonna act. Just with any, just as soon as they start speaking, then it was just like, oh, they're gonna betray them, or oh, like this person is gonna start being all wiggy, or this person's gonna freak out because she survived, or this person's gonna, yeah, and that was like, it was tiring, but again, the movie was interesting enough to where it didn't hinder it, but it was annoying that it was just so predictable. Um, they had just way too many moments where it was like they get a brand new recruit and the girl was like, I want to go back to my family, and it's like, yeah, you can't, not with how we are, like you just can't. And then it was just, I want to go back to my family, my life, I don't want to do. Then it's like, but I gotta help you guys. Then I was like, well, you're not going back to your family. You're going to help them. Why are we stringing this along? Then they had moments of where they would explain to her the situation. She understood what was going on. She herself is a soldier, so she'd get where all of them are coming from. And then it would just backtrack and have her rehash the same emotions and feelings. Granted, you can't just immediately cut those off. I get it, you know. But at the same time, it was like they had moments to where she understood that they had to do what they had to do. She is what she is. She's with these guys now. And then they would just backtrack and have her restart the whole process all over again. Even to the point at the end of the movie where they just let her go back to her family. And then she was willing to go, but then when she found out that the gun was empty, then she was like, oh no, like, they're in trouble. And then the fact that it was like they did that, but then they never brought up again her being like she's going to go back to her family. It's just that now she was just part of the crew. So, part of the ship, part of the crew. But so that was something that was like, it was like it gave depth to her character by her wanting to go back to her old life because she still could go back to her old life. But the rest of them, like, and like, it's like since she was the newer member and the newer person, that character dynamic was actually very refreshing. And it was like, this is the kid who doesn't know what the rest of them have been through, and she's basically putting herself up for more hurt because she feels that she can still do it, but they're letting her know, like, no, you can't. Like, you think you can, but you cannot. And it's like, I know it's hard, and it's like, we all had to go through this, but it's like, we're trying to tell you, just so you know, like, you're going to come back to us. But, yeah, and it's like, the world that you think you could be a part of ain't even gonna help. And then basically at the end of the movie, they were like, the guy could just put in that she's killed in action. She was KIA. And then it was just like she was just over it, and I was like, oh, so it just is something that harped to me for her character, setting up for a lot more. Now, in the story, they basically introduced like they get found out, they start to trace, try to cover up their tracks, figure out who was to set them up. Now the people know who they are. So now they're looking for them as well. Then you also have, then they had the added element of, oh, it's chilly in my room. I'm cold and I'm yawning. But you had the added element of, they also discovered that a new person came up with their abilities, which I thought was pretty cool. Was that basically they all dream and get hints towards another person like them. So then they all basically were, and it was like they were all asleep, and then they all woke up and they were dreaming, and they had fragments of the dreams, and then they all were kind of just like talking and going through the motions of exactly what they saw, so everyone got a clear picture of who it is they need to look for or where they were. I thought that was really, really cool. Um, then you get to there's a chick that basically that's just like them, an immortal, just in an Iron Maiden at the bottom of the ocean, screaming, healing, dying over and over and over again. And they all can feel her and sense her, but they don't know where she is. Now, in concept, that's cool. That's a cool, traumatic, sad thing to have for some characters. But in reality, considering the timeline that they were supposed to be in, the fact that they haven't tried to find her is ridiculous. And I did not like that they did that, because like they separated them, the ship went away and threw her in the ocean. But it's like, yo, just simple calculations would let you know, because it was like they talked to everyone that was on the ship. They just didn't tell them no one told them anything. They just never found her. But then it was like, you would think exactly how far did the ship go from the port that they were. They think of the area that they were in. And it's like, well, exactly how far would the ship be willing to travel in order to dump her body? Did they go for days? Was it weeks? It's like if you remember the situation so vividly, you would probably remember a lot of key details about that. So it's like, how long was the ship gone? Days, weeks? And it's like, okay, how long will the ship take a week to go out into sea? And so, and then just calculating from that, buy a submarine, because it's not like they were pressed for money. I doubt that they would be. Buy a submarine, freaking scour scour the underbelly of the ocean, and every time you hear a ping that sounds like someone punching something, then you'd be like, hey, that's a girl. Like, get a crane, we'll get her out. And there you go. And it's like, yo, it took us 500 years, but hey, we got you. We got you. But the only reason that this couldn't happen is because the movie ends with her basically showing up as what would be perceived as the next villain, which would be cool. Another immortal villain that knows and most likely feels betrayed by them and wants to get revenge on them that they got to deal with. And so they have the conflicting emotional aspect because it's like, yo, that's our friend, we know her. And then because this movie ends with a betrayal as well, to which um, it was a banishment, which I also thought was pretty cool because it was like, we can't kill him, and it was like there's still our friend that we've known for all these years. It's just that he wants to die. He doesn't want to be immortal anymore. He wants to die. He's tired of this. The pain, he can't take it. Which again, amazing character concept that would come up with someone who's immortal. And so then having that and then being like, they still care about him. They still love him. He's still their friend. And so then the banishment became that he would basically spend 100 years away from them. They would not contact him for 100 years. One of his things was that being alone and not having anyone to deal with being immortal is something that's been weighing on him. Because the two gay guys have each other, but he was like, Charlie Thornton and himself don't. And, and it was like, so that's understandable. And then the punishment being that you're basically spending 100 years alone because you can't get with anyone else. You can't make a connection with anyone else. You just have to be alone for 100 years. And it's like, that is a fitting punishment considering what they did and what they went through. And it's not like they were like tortured or gone for the spans of years or anything like that, So, but it was still a betrayal. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then like having the girl that was basically in the water for all those years come up, and it basically was like they could feel her going mad because of what she's doing, because of basically still being tortured with the aspect of drowning over and over again, just trying to get yourself out. So then, like you're basically gonna have her and just be like crazy, and her thing's probably gonna be like, you didn't look for me, you guys didn't find me, I got out because of this, or it's like I don't trust any of you, blah, blah, blah. But still, good concept, but it needed some type of spark in order for the next movie to begin, and so that was pretty interesting, pretty cool that they had going on. So the movie is not without fault, but at the same time, it is not perfect. But it is a very good movie to watch. It was actually quite enjoyable. The action scenes were phenomenal. The concept and the creativity that they had behind them being immortal, and then the way how they fought, very reminiscent of it's the Japanese movie called Reborn. I highly recommend watching that. It's one of my favorite uh, kung fu movies. Kung fu battle fight. What could you even say that martial art? Would it even apply that to martial arts? Because they were doing soldier like tactics in that movie. But Reborn is a very good movie to look into. But this movie had a lot of moments like that I really enjoyed. They were like flipping around, shooting characters, tossing them over to other characters for them to finish off. So they just had this they were just well oiled machine when it came to them actually doing work and, and getting the job done for them being such like a close knit group of friends and just this amazing team that was just flawless. So when they did do stuff, like when they did do the action scenes and everything, it was damn near flawless. And I gotta give them nothing but props on their choreography for that. Choreography for that. It was actually very well done. I thought it was just amazing. And again, like Charlie Thornton in this, like vastly superior than the action scene she did in Atomic Blonde. And I'm pretty sure she probably worked harder in Atomic Blonde because it was just her by herself. But it was just something about these scenes and the teamwork aspect that they had of it, as well as just the close knit precision that went with everything that they did. It was fantastic. It was really fantastic. So I highly recommend Old Guard. Definitely something that you need to check out. Um, just yeah, yeah, just check it out. Um, Sad news for anyone else listening is that the Atlanta Comic Con uh, has been canceled due to coronavirus, and so it's these guys will not be there. I guess luckily we're able to. They're holding our position until August of 2021. If you care, I kind of don't. It's kind of a thing that pisses me off. But carpet is basically done. It is open. Let me actually see if I can find the link. But the comic book that was done by me and my friends, and we call ourselves It's These Guys. That is our legal name. You just call us These Guys. But we finished our comic book Carpet, and it's basically up on Amazon for purchase. So if anyone wants to show your boy some support, if you on Anchor, I will put the link to our website in the description of the podcast. But yeah, definitely check that out if you possibly get the chance. I would greatly appreciate it. Let me know what you think. First time comic book creator, long time reader. So really, I hope I hope you guys think it's all right. um, so let me actually see if it's popping up. Cause I'm on Amazon right now. Amazon right now. And no. So fuck. All right. Yeah. Forget what I just said. But when it is up, I will promote, say, and everything like that, and let you all know. So but yeah, it is finished. So definitely be on the look at that soon. Let people know. Like, yo, have you heard of Daniel the Flame? I go, who the fuck is that? And you'll be like, well, it doesn't matter who he is, but he got a comic book out. Yeah, but who is he? It doesn't matter who he is. He has a comic book out, damn it. Didn't you hear me? Well, alright, no, I should go now. This is I'm being ridiculous. Um, if you if I find something else to talk about, I definitely will let you guys know. But for now, that's all I have to say. This has been Fun with Flame. I have been your host, Daniel the Flame. And as always, good people, I hope you had some fun. Also, be sure to check out the original home of the Fun with Flame podcast over at Anchor.fm. I upload there first and far more frequently than I do YouTube. And you should definitely go there to listen to some of my podcasts that are just too hot for YouTube to handle. So check out Anchor.fm for more Fun with Flame content. Be sure to subscribe and click any of the links in the description to see all of the other things that I am associated with, if you just want a little bit more of that Daniel the Flame in your life.